I never thought Beyonce was on that.
Yeah, she's
I went to the clock.
Okay.
It's a little late.
No, she said 51.
Well, here we go. So, everybody has their one?
She said 51.
Last lunch for the semester. How about that? And you got to spend it with me. Isn't it nice?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but you don't get lunch. All right. So, here we go. Everybody's back paying attention.
Y'all be quiet.
Taylor. 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 All right, Jordan, get that head up or go see the nurse, honey. If you're not feeling well, we can go see the nurse. Otherwise, got to keep our head up. Because if somebody comes in to evaluate me and your head's down, I get checked off. I want you checked off.
Or have you ever had a bad evaluation? Terrible.
Well, there was the time at the beginning of my career when I was teaching geometry and we were studying congruent triangles. And you know that's angle, side angle, and all that stuff. Well, I was trying to impress upon the children that angle, side, side, or side, side, angle was not a congruence postulate. So I had written in great big letters, which was totally stupid. I should have not put it in big letters. But I had great big letters, ASS, with a line, you know, like this. And in walked, naturally, that one day, that one time, in walked Sister Thomas Moore, who was an administrator at the time.
Is that the lady that scared you?
And she wanted to know, no, that was Sister Frances Borgia Van Hoy.
Oh.
This was, so, anyway, Sister Thomas Moore was a sweetheart, but very, like, no nonsense. And so she waited till class was over to say something. She didn't embarrass me in front of class, but she wanted to know why I was writing that kind of stuff on the board. And then there was the time I was writing too fast on a trigonometry paper, and when you write, we talked about secant, abbreviation, and I was just writing too fast, and I left out the C, handed it out. I don't know, some parent must have seen it at home or something, I don't know. Anyhow, an administrator found out, and I got called in for that, even though it was a very, like, obviously I made a mistake because, I mean, it was part of it, like, it was part of it solving an equation, and I got down to the end and I just didn't have a C in it. So anyhow, yes, I have gotten in trouble. I have gotten in trouble before. Huh? I still haven't talked to him about it. I know. I have. All right. No. I don't wear school uniform pants either.
Lead by example.
I'm trying to. So here we go. Take a look at this equation. Notice where is the variable? In the exponent. When the variable is in an exponent, the only way we have to solve it, unless you can get a common base, the only way to solve it is with logarithms. So since this has an e, will ln both sides? This is a free response question because it takes some steps. This will cross out. So 7x plus 1 equals ln 10. Right?
Or you can subtract the 1 over.
We are solving for x. So we're going to subtract 1. And then we're going to divide by 7. Now, my recommendation to you is that unless you're good with your calculator and using parentheses, that you do that in exactly the steps that you just did it, but one at a time. So in other words, find ln 10 and get that answer, okay? Then subtract 1 from it and get that answer, and then divide by 7, and the final answer is 0.186. So you should get, when you type that in, 0.186. If you try to type it in like this, you're not going to get it right unless you use parentheses. So I would suggest that you just take ln 10, subtract 1, and then divide by 7, and that will give you the correct answer. Okay? So who else thought of something during lunch? You were eating your French fries and said, oh, we need to practice.
Miss Ford, did you put the 7 in the parentheses? Did you close parentheses after the 7?
You close the parentheses and then divide by 7.
I still didn't get that.
I didn't either. I got .313.
And you're.
Press LN10,
I did that too.
LN 10.
press equals.
No, but when
No, press equals. Well, you know what happened? You didn't close the parentheses after the 10 then. You always have to close the parentheses after the number ULN.
okay, so LN 10, close parentheses.
Got it.
Yeah. I don't know why you're doing that. I don't know why you don't just do what I said, and that is take LN10
I got an error.
minus 1 and divide by 7.
I got an error.
Okay, press LN10 equals
Kennedy,
minus 1
how you get that? I got an error.
equals divided by 7.
One at a time.
That's what I'm gonna have to do. How do you put it all together though?
You don't need to. Don't. You can't manage it. And at this point, we're not talking about it. Just type it in like I said. It'll work every time. All right, next question.
Girl, work your back first.
Next question. Caroline Brown, I know you got a question. What kind of problem are you gonna maybe miss on whenever we take our exam Thursday? Okay, I couldn't hear what she said. You know the notation for what?
I mean, can we do a schedule? It's like you write it onto the graph. So it's like negative 32
Okay, what does the question say? So it's y equals what?
Negative in parentheses x minus 3
Oh, I remember this. It's
Yeah,
a parabola.
it's a parabola. So this is an easy thing to sketch. If you remember, first of all, that squares are parabolas. And then you have to remember, so a parabola, the squaring function looks like this. But all of the stuff you put into the problem changes it. So you got to remember what all those changes do. So first of all, this negative will make our parabola go upside down. So this is going to turn it upside down. What does putting a minus 3 do? 3 units to the right, and then 1 unit up. So this is a parabola opening down because of the negative, and with a vertex at 3, 1, over 3, up 1. So that's pretty, I mean, if it's an equation like that, it's going to be a parabola every time. So you just got to remember your rules for moving it around.
Miss Ford, there's another question like
This
that.
goes right 3, up 1.
There's another question like that, but it was not put into that form, and we had to change it to that form.
There's no question that says write in vertex form. There is a question that says find the vertex. So it doesn't say you have to put it in that form, although you could. That would be one option. But if we had this, I have to be careful. If we had an equation like this, this is also a parabola, right? How do I know? Squared, it's a parabola. This one, though, is not written in that form. You could change this equation into that form. We did that. But you can also find the vertex by doing negative b over 2a. That is the faster way of doing it. So in this problem, negative b over 2a would be negative 2. So your vertex has an x-coordinate of negative 2. And then how do we get the y-coordinate? Plug it in right here. When you plug it in, oh my gosh, we have talked and talked about this. When you plug it in, you square first. So this would be 4 times 2 is 8. Minus 16 minus 3, so that's going to work out to be negative 11. So your vertex is negative 2, negative 11. Way faster than putting it in vertex form. Negative b over 2a. Okay? Who else? Joseph.
Yeah.
You sick? All right, well, turn your chair around. Sit up. There we go. Good job. What are you going to miss on Thursday?
It was 13, I guess.
What does the question say? Okay, so I don't need that exact problem. But here's the thing. So we're going to start with one of our base functions. So let's just start with y equals x cubed. And then we're going to change it. And we're going to change it like this. We're going to move it 2 units to the right. We're going to have a vertical stretch of 4. We're going to turn it upside down. And we're going to pick it, move it up, let's say, yeah, we'll move it up 3. Okay? So you're going to take this basic equation, and we're going to do all these things to it. So, how do we move an equation 2 units to the right?
Subtract 2.
Subtract 2 in the parentheses. So that would look like this, right? That, or cube, sorry. That would take it 3 units, or 2 units to the right. Now, how do we accomplish a vertical stretch? How do you stretch it out vertically? You put a 4 in front. Stretches are multiplies. Stretches and shrinks are multiplies. So a vertical stretch, we're going to times it by 4. How do we turn it upside down? Make the 4 a negative 4. And then how do we move it up 3?
Plus 3 on the right.
Plus 3 on the end, just like that. Now, that, I could have started with any equation. I think the one you're looking at, we started with x squared. Doesn't matter. You can start with any equation. These are the things you're going to do to that equation.
I have a quick question.
Okay?
For inverse, you just switch the x and the y.
And solve for y. So if we're finding, her question is, how do we find the inverse? So if we had an equation that started out looking like this, first of all, think of that as y, f of x is y. Then switch the variables. So x equals 3y plus 5 over 7, right? And now we're going to solve for y. So we'll multiply by 7, subtract 5, and divide by 3. Now, one thing to keep in mind, so there's your inverse. One thing to keep in mind is the notation is this. So the question might not even say find the inverse. It might say find this. So you need to know that means inverse. That's the inverse notation. Okay? Okay, that's inverse, which is exactly what we just did. All right, the enthusiasm is incredible. Malcolm, what is your thing you might miss if we don't go over it?
So one of the problems that were on the end of the last semester is the word problems.
So fine, okay. Do you want to do a PERT or the other one?
Hurt.
PERT?
Yeah.
So there'll be a PERT question on the exam because there's one in the review sheet. So let's find how long for 103 things to grow into 382 things if the growth constant is 0.123. All right, so first of all, even though I'll give you the PERT formula, you recognize this is a PERT problem. So here's my formula. Now what's going to go where? Where does the 103 go? P is what I start with. A is 382. B is E. R is 123. And T is the question, how long? Now, where's the variable? In the exponent. That means I'm going to use logarithms, but not first. What do I have to do first? Divide by the 103. That has to happen first. So now I have the equation 382 over 103 equals e to the 0.123t. Right? Now I'll ln both sides. This is gone, so I have ln this fraction, 382 over 103, equals 0.123t. And I'm going to divide by 0.123. So I'm going to take my calculator, ln 382 divided by 103, close the parentheses, and then divided by 0.123. And the answer is 10.656. I'll say hours because I didn't really, some time thing, right? Minutes, days, weeks. Okay, Malcolm? That good? All right. Okay, next time I see you folks, it'll be exam time.
Joe, you should wait.
Gotta pass that test.